What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a very special and monumental episode of Cosplay Chris. And just on the 2.5 year mark, Samurai Spawn, my cosplay is done and dusted for now. So this is going to be a very different reveal and breakdown in terms of structure. So the video you're watching right now is going to be the breakdown of the entire costume. Now, once you are done watching this video, I'm gonna have the reveal footage / little trailer that I did with Danielo and Sarah of Lux Media. It's then gonna be followed by a behind the scenes featurette that goes for about 25 minutes of the making of that little trailer that we made. And Danielo and Sarah have just done a brilliant job, and I cannot thank them enough. The reveal was leaps and bounds to what I thought it would be. I just wanted to go all out and do something a little bit cinematic. Again, it's been 2.5 years, so you may as well go all out. So like I said, this is gonna be structured a little bit differently. You know, usually I do the breakdown and reveal in one video, but today, in this video, we're gonna be doing the breakdown, followed by the reveal trailer, followed by the behind the scenes featurette of making that little trailer. This is gonna sound strange. I feel it's just a bit of a disservice to put something so beautiful with what Danielo and Sarah did in terms of the trailer and then the behind the scenes featurette with the breakdown footage. It's just chalk and cheese. I'm in my dingy little garage, and then what we made was just absolute magic. And plus it's a lot of content and it's just good fun, so I reckon we'll just space it out over 3 videos. Even though the trailer itself is 1:40 odd, I think it's just still well worth it to have it on its own. So what I thought I'd do is put the cosplay together in front of you. We're gonna start with the bodysuit, then move on to the cape, the shoulder pads, the hood, the belt. We've also got the arm guards, the gloves, the mask itself. I'm gonna show you guys how I did the light up feature in that, keeping in mind when you guys watch the trailer and then the behind the scenes featurette, it's all practical in terms of the eyes lighting up. All right, first things first, let's get started with the bodysuit. Now, I know I throw around the term Frankensteining a lot in terms of kit bashing stuff together. This right here is the epitome of kit bashing. So the base muscle suit / muscle kit is a urethane kit from John Ninko of Ninko Creations, who does one of the best muscle kits out there. And it was actually mounted to a test phantom suit that John sent me just as a little freebie with the muscle kit. And it was what I had lying around at the time, and it was just a matter of, you know, contact adhering the pieces down. But for the outer bodysuit, the actual Spawn suit, the base file was made by Ryan Jenkins of Frontier Costuming, who did a cracker job getting the perfect base form for Spawn. I gave him heaps of reference. It was then printed by John Ninko, who did the muscle suit. I did try print costume, but it was just way too small. You couldn't get it any larger than like an extra large, and I needed extra large to accommodate the muscle suit. Now, originally I was just gonna wear the bodysuit over the muscle suit, but the thing is, it was flat on the chest. There was no definition, and to me, that's kind of not the point of Spawn. You need that muscular powerfulness. So what I did was contact adhered with a spray contact adhesive the fabric of the bodysuit down to the muscle suit, and then went in, no joke, with some cheap and nasty super glue in all the crevices, because it's so tight, there were some parts that were starting to kind of lift from the crevices. So you go in with the cheap and nasty super glue, all the parts that you want to have crevices and stuff like that, especially the pecs and some of the abs. And once the whole costume's on, you don't even notice the rest of this. There was no real need to kind of glue down these certain areas, keeping in mind when I do wear it, the deltoids have great definition with the fabric. And I also just applied a Velcro here for the neck seal just to keep it in place. Otherwise, because the neck seal is pretty much one entire piece, and you will see that, it rides back and it starts choking you and everything gets out of alignment, so you need an anchor point right here. Now, it did come with the hood, but it was too loose down the front, so I literally pulled it back, made another hole, and this hole here is supposed to be the chest, but this new hole is actually what I put my head through. Again, a massive kit bash job at its finest. This is something that I need to revisit again. Like I said, the cosplay is done for now, but I definitely want to revisit this. Maybe even getting some sort of puff paint or white urethane and making this section here 3-dimensional. I just feel that add a bit more depth to the entire cosplay. All right, let's move on to the mask variation. So this isn't the one that you're gonna see in the reveal and the behind the scenes footage. It is an option to have, but it doesn't have the lenses in at the moment. Whereas this is the one that I opted for. I just love the tusks. There's something just so intimidating and badass about the tusks. Now, I did order some lenses off Amazon. They still have not arrived. They're a flexible one with an LED light in them that have been tinted green. So because they didn't arrive, I had to kit bash my own. So what you see here are pieces of green acrylic that are used for sewing and measuring out hexagons and tracing templates and stuff like that. I got them from Spotlight and cut them out in the shape of the lens shapes themselves and then heat formed them to the inside of the mask. I then grabbed some pre-existing LED bulbs and hot glued them in on the sides there, leading to here with the battery pack. So you literally just put it on with an elastic strap. So you give you guys a good look. Now, right now, I can see perfectly. Like everything's great, everything's fine, I can see great. And then as soon as the LEDs come on, your vision gets inhibited a little bit. Once there is low light, you're practically blind. But mind you, if I'm like this out in the sunlight, I can see pretty well. As long as things aren't fogging up, it's not too bad. So remember I said the shoulder pads, the neck seal, and the cape are pretty much one piece. Well, I wasn't lying. So here it is, and we're gonna pop it on like so. And again, this is why you have to have a Velcro tab here that meets in the middle. Otherwise, it's just gonna ride back, it's gonna choke you, and then everything gets out of alignment. So I have the two beautiful skulls here that were designed in 3D by Henry Creations. I went ahead, had them 3D printed by Miles at Flux 3D, took a silicone mold, cast them in resin, and then did all my dry brushings and stuff like that. Now you recognize these pieces from the original build back in the day. I love them, they're still there, and they make everything so much more brutal and badass and just give you that nice width. Now you'll notice I got two Velcro tabs on the side of the hood. There are two corresponding Velcro tabs on the helmet itself, and that just keeps the hood in place. It's not gonna fall back, and it just keeps that nice hood shape, almost like a Jedi. Now for those wondering, the original chest piece, it's still alive and well in here. I just opted for something a bit more simple this time around. Again, it might be one of those things where I do get another muscle kit and forego the torso area so I can wear this. Again, I just went something a bit more simpler, but I still love this thing and I put a lot of work into it, so it is not going anywhere. And eventually, if I do a version 2, it's gonna be used for it. Now, the belt was something I'm very proud of. You know the basic premise for this one. I took a mold of mum and dad's old washing basket over 2 years ago, and this is a flexible urethane casting with some gold pigment powder brushed into it, and the trimming is just trimming from Spotlight. Like, most of this costume is a massive kit bash job with trimmings and even Halloween decorations. So this dead bat is a Halloween decoration from Spotlight that I bloodied up a little bit, and it was just cool to have like as a little trophy or token. Now these actual pouches are practical pouches. On the day of the convention for Oz Comic Con, I had spare tubes of super glue in here in case anything needed fixing, and also just got little giblets in here with like tissues and stuff like that for patting down, etc. Now it's just a Velcro closure at the back, keeping it practical and simple. Like Velcro is your friend when it comes to a cosplay like this, Geeks and Geekettes. I'm just gonna pop that on. In hindsight, I probably should have popped this on first before the cape, but you get a pretty good idea. And there we go. Make sure that's all nice and tucked in, that rope's out there. Now for weathering the cape and parts of the tunic and the hood, a blowtorch and matte black spray paint from Rust-Oleum. Just having actual burnt fabric, you can tell it's burnt fabric instead of artificially burnt and weathered and colored and stuff like that. There's just a crispiness to it, especially with this fabric. This is like a drape fabric, a curtain fabric, so it has that hang to it and that heaviness to it that I wanted. Next up, we just have these bicep/tricep guards here. Just base is EVA foam, just covered with some fabric from Spotlight. Again, a lot of contact adhering, gluing, like there's probably 20 kilos of glue on this thing, and it's held in place just with some elastic so they're easy to put on and off. So this one goes on this side. Now it was a bit annoying because they would eventually fall down during the con and during the shoot, so I had to make sure that they weren't gonna slip down anytime soon, but you know, you kind of get a feel for it. You can feel when they're starting to slip and go. So it was no real major issue, but there are some photos and I'm like, oh, this is starting to slip, I can see that. But also it just fills in that negative space there and just that blandness of the suit. Not to say that it's bland, but just more or less just gives a bit more detail there. Now, most of you will probably remember the gloves/forearm armor. Again, it's a mixture of Halloween hands, and originally they were a lot longer, but what I found is you're very clumsy with longer fingers, especially very rubberized fingers. So shorten them, and it kind of just added to the overall aesthetic and made it a lot more believable. Mind you, I did love the Nosferatu look of the longer fingers, but I needed something more practical, especially when I'm trying to put parts of the costume on by myself. And then this one wraps around, and then there's a Velcro closure underneath the forearm guard here. So we've got a mixture of EVA foam, we've got balsa wood, we've got more of that urethane casting of the washing basket. We have a leather glove from Bunnings, like a leather gardening glove, and then of course the Halloween hand. So pretty practical, pretty comfortable, but it still gets a little bit clumsy. But again, it's better than longer ass fingers like that. So we'll just pop the gloves on, seal this one up. Next up, footwear. So for the Ninja Tabby, I just found these on eBay. I think they were like 50 bucks altogether. So they are sealed in at the bottom with a silicone. It's kind of like a gumboot, so to speak, a two-toe gumboot. In terms of weathering, it was just watered down brown student acrylic, easy as that. They are pretty comfortable to wear. The only thing you have to keep in mind before you put them on, you got to pull the tip of your socks forward so they can tuck back in, so you got a bit extra sock that is going to separate at the toes. Now for the shin guards themselves, they were actually MMA protective pads I got from Decathlon Sports Shop up at my local Westfield. So it was a perfect starting base. I then went ahead and spray painted them with a red, and then I carved out by hand, like the forearm guards, the spikes, and just trying to make them as sharp and as jagged and crooked as possible, and just having no symmetry whatsoever. And again, like the tunic itself, all the trimmings and stuff like that were from Spotlight. Again, a lot of glue. Now this skull and the other skull on the other shin guard are from Spotlight. It's a Halloween decoration that I cut in half, sanded, and then went in, glued it down, weathered, and tried to have like a gash there with some green ooze coming out of there, and vice versa for the rest of the footwear. So again, very comfy to wear, very easy to slip on. So the tabby goes in like so, and it's hooked in at the bottom there, so it doesn't really want to flap or go anywhere. And then you've got two straps at the back. So again, just trying to make this cosplay as practical and as easy to put on as possible. If I've got like a helper zip at the back, like a wire piece with the zipper, I can put this entire thing on by myself. Now last but certainly not least, the samurai sword. So this is a con-safe foam LARP sword that my good friend Morgan got for me down at Canberra Oz Comic Con. It was a week before the shoot. I realized I didn't have a samurai, so I'm like, dude, can you hook me up with something that is con safe? And he came through. So again, it is foam, it is safe. Now I just went in with some brown pleather and pretty much wrapped the entire piece and even the handle. Now, much like the shin guards, this skull here is a decorative piece, a Halloween decoration from Spotlight, and with a curtain tassel as well just on top of it. And this piece right here is off a tape measure, so it literally just locks on nice and easy to the belt, but you can take it on and off, so it's not permanently there. But if it gets uncomfortable, you can just unhook it. All right, geeks and geekheads, there you go. The first part is done and dusted. I've done the breakdown. I really hope you got a Jonesing out of it. Again, the inspiration came from an iteration of Spawn from one of the latest comic issues, and also the Samurai Spawn action figure from the early 2000s that I had. I'm now gonna leave you with some footage that Danielo and Sarah shot after we had wrapped the initial trailer shoot. But after this video, you can go check the trailer out, and then after that, I'm gonna be uploading the behind the scenes footage with Danielo giving a massive insight to the visual effects breakdown, the color grading, the sound design, you name it, because they've just done a wonderful job, and I can't thank them enough. Like, they've really tickled my heartstrings with the finishing result of this. It's beyond what I thought I could ever do. It's funny, I'll tell Danielo that I'm editing on iMovie, and he's like, that's cute. Rightfully so.
And there we have it, geeks and geekettes. After nearly 2.5 years, Samurai Spawn is done and dusted. Now, firstly, a massive thank you to Danielo and Sarah of Lux Media for the beautiful work they've done with videoing and photographing this cosplay. I'm absolutely over the moon, and I've never been so happy with the outcome of a cosplay and the videos and the photos. Now, also a massive thank you to Henry Creations for doing the 3D files, Miles of Flux 3D for also doing the 3D printing work, and Mr. John Nincoat for the bodysuit as well as the muscle suit, and not to mention Mr. Ryan Jenkins of Frontier Costuming for the design of the bodysuit itself. So with that being said, wherever you are in the world, please have yourselves an absolute cracker of a day. I hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best. I need a beer.